move the game forward and promote it through the difficult times that we've had in the last few years, whether it be a pandemic or an assault on the game socially. And so, but it's evolved into some stuff more in line with my background as an educator and a coach in strength and conditioning and exercise physiology and kinesiology, all that sort of stuff. So anyhow, that's that, and that's what, if you came in here to learn how to tackle young people, that's not what I'm going to talk about, or to teach young people how to tackle. I'm going to talk about some off-season stuff. So at your high school level stuff, you can do these drills and not maybe get caught in some pinch with the NPA or the whomever, right? And it's all drills where we're actually teaching kids or people to literally be in contact with each other again because they haven't been. We're doing this. You know, and I'm serious. I mean, we were talking about it. I talk about it a lot. And they think they're connected with people, but they're really not. And we're going to talk about how we physically connect them to one another. And this is some stuff that I'm going to go into youth development. I'm going to get into some strength and conditioning stuff and a wide range of stuff. Then I'll get into some film and whatnot. There's the contact information up there. That's an email. Feel free. I don't have copies of this, but I'll happily shoot it to you in a slides format or PowerPoint or PDF, whatever you like. That's the Twitter handle. PA is for Bridgeton Academy. I've been there for, we're going to call it 20 years nowadays. And that's a phone number you can shoot a message to and get a hold of me in the office. So you get all that stuff right there for you. Before we do this, there's some fun technical stuff going on with this thing these days. Here's a little bit of video. Let's show some contact stuff here where our guys at Bridgeton Academy are in contact with other human beings and how it rolls into what I'm going to talk about here. And we're going to look at these two guys right here, this tackle and end concept here, these two guys in their contact, how they make contact with the opposition. We're running power over here, so that tackle's got to get down, and that end has got that tight end, sniffer type guy has got to get inside the defensive end. And I want you to watch their feet. And this guy comes down here, this kid's 6'7", and this tight end is about 6'1", and he false steps. I don't hate it, I don't like false steps, but it also slows him down because he's a lot faster than the 6'7" guy. But their feet are underneath their bodies. And this cat right here, he's maintaining a great, what we call power position. He's got a good wide base. He's bent at his knees, ankles, and hips. He's got his hands and shoulders here. Watch 6'7" here coil himself up right there. And now he's going to uncoil into this dude, and he's going to make a good block. And the running back scoots up in there. That's what it looks like for those guys up front. On the perimeter, we're going to watch these two cats as they come out here on the perimeter. We're running a little screen game out here. And the number 2 receiver, he's got the point guy, he's got that flat defender. He comes out, he makes real good contact initially, then he stays sticky. He doesn't come off the guy. And he takes it where he wants to be, and he has to run a little bit, but he doesn't lose contact. The number 1 receiver out here on the edge, he just walls the dude up. This number 1 receiver, he might be 5'9", he might weigh 160 pounds, I doubt it. Right? But watch him position himself right there and maintain his body position, number 16 right there on the 4. And they create a seam right there, and there's the screen guy, and this is on him. He's going to outrun that guy. He's supposed to be that guy. But their body positions, and as you look at it from the end zone shot, get a good look here at this guy loses his body position a little bit, but he stays with it, and he ends up sealing that guy inside, and the guy at the top of the screen takes care of business, and it's just fine. If you pass set, right? So that's some run blocking, some perimeter blocking. Here's some pass set stuff here. It's a great side view of this guy's ankles, his knees, and his hips, and his shoulders, and I want you to watch his arm, right? This is part of that power position we don't talk a whole lot about, but this is what we got to have. He uses that long arm. The O-line guys talk about that long arm a lot, and you got to have that because they want to create, they want to tie that end up, and you can see that guy's ripping and clubbing, and that D end is trying to get him off of him. He's like, my arm's staying on you right there. And he's shuffling his feet. O-line guys don't like the way he's turned his back to the quarterback. There's all sorts of stuff wrong with his O-line technique, but his body position is what I like about this guy, the strength and the length in his arm. So he's doing a good job with that. That's the offense. That's the end of the offensive stuff. I was practicing this the other day with the folks. I went up and saw my dad. I let him preview. I said, as I looked for film on this stuff in special teams, this seemed to be the hardest place to find our guys doing it well. because they're running so fast and they're so amped up and they're so that they forget about what they're supposed to do. There's the schematic part, the X's and O's part, and then there's the what's my body supposed to do part. And I got a couple of clips from the end zone shot here of some guys that really, one guy does an okay job, and then two guys do a really bad job. So this is more to emphasize how important this is in all phases of the game. This guy over here, number 7, can I do this today? Oh, I can't do that. Come on, there it is. Number 7's got good body position. He squared the guy up, he's balanced, his hands are in front of him. These two guys over here on the left, these guys over here are a train wreck in a double team. Seriously, it's a gong show, right? This guy's launching himself into the dude. This guy's coming to a bad body position. The guy who looks good over here, he actually catches the guy. Look how he's backpedaling. Not good, right? We don't like to backpedal on this stuff. But watch how he finishes it. He recollects with the guy. He ends up dumping the guy on his back. I don't know. You tell me, is that a good block or not a good block? It's a push. My world. He didn't do a good job striking the guy. He absorbed him, but this guy doesn't make the tackle. He's on his back. So, and these guys over on the right-hand side in the double team, they both, and the term we use now, or that I use, is they got reshaped. Right? We want them to have that nice power position, square body, head neutral position, strong arms, strong bent ankles, knees, and hips. Right, head up, neutral neck. This guy launches into him. He's reshaped himself. This guy, if I roll it forward just a little bit, you can see this guy's folded up. Roll it again. Look how he's folded up, and this guy's all extended. This guy here, he's an all-star because he gets through two other. A single block and a double team, he ends up pursuing the ball. He ends up almost getting it. But that's what we're looking at on special teams. I think it's just hard for those guys on special teams. Here's some defensive stuff. This corner is going to come in from the perimeter, and he's going to make a great initial shock on this kid. And he does this with good body position. His feet and his hips are unlocking. You can see his hips come through as he delivers the blow right there. Boom. Right? I don't like how short his arms are, but his body position is excellent. So I skip to the end zone shot. We got to get to him. And right here, his feet, and watch this. This is the safety coming off the hash. He's all excited. This goes to that special teams concept where they're running so fast. And this kid's excited. He's got the read. And watch his feet as he comes in here. Right there. This guy's squared up. This guy's got his feet crossed. Okay, not good. This guy's going to make the play. This guy should make the play, right? This guy's getting blocked. This guy's not. Watch this. Boom. The other guy just stands there. And he gets him running into the other block. Because he doesn't control his body. Right? He's running too fast and not getting under control. This is a shot. This kid, Tiny, this is the guy that got reshaped on the kickoff too, by the way. He's a very good tackler. He's 150 pounds soaking wet. He's going to make a play on this guy up at Husson who is way bigger than him. They're going to get kind of shadowed by the pole here in a second. But you can kind of see this happening from here to here. We're down the goal line. Get you the end zone shot here where you can see how he does a couple things really well. Here he comes. Boom. So we're here. He gets nice and low in his body position. He's bent here, here, and here. His arms are caught. What you tell these kids with their hands when they're making a tackle is what you tell them. They need to be able to come from here to here. They need to go through shoulder flexion, right? Shoulder extension up through here, right? And get that thing done. And watch how he does it. It's great. He wears these hot pink gloves, which is great because I can see when he comes through with his hands. And he does something with his body that we teach where he finishes on top. He's taught, we practice it, to roll on top of that guy to make sure he doesn't continue to get any further, and it helps in the torsion to get him on the ground. So that's, I mean, and he just saved a touchdown versus Wagner up there at Husson. Here he is again, and I told him, I promised him this during the season. I said, I'm going to put this on my clinic tape in the spring because it's a great play. It's a great tackle. This guy doesn't do a good job blocking him, but this kid comes in and makes a good old-fashioned dive drive, form tackle, kind of stuff that makes defensive coaches look really good and really makes us really excited and super. But he comes off his block. He doesn't do a great job with that. I'm not too worried about it. I am worried about it, but as he comes in and makes this tackle again, we tell these guys, and this is one of those things, I'm the right, he's the right defensive corner. He's going this way. He knows already he's tackling anybody with this shoulder. Because the sideline's there, it's my friend, right? I don't have to now keep this pad clean. right? I got to keep this pad clean because it's the one I'm going to strike the ball carrier with, right? That's a shift in some thinking, right? Because but he's coming from a different angle. He's not the defensive end or the outside linebacker at the line of scrimmage. He's coming from a different angle. So he's told, hey, you just can't get tied up with that blocker, right? But he knows he's making a tackle with his left shoulder. He strikes that guy real well. He reforms his body, right? He got reshaped by this. This is the same big dude, right? He reshapes his own body, runs his feet through, and then finishes on top. That's good stuff right there. They said funky stuff was happening. Alright, so that's the video. That's the football part of it. That's the football video I'm going to show today. That's it. We're going to get into why we're doing this sort of thing, and how we're doing it. So what's the purpose of the preparation for contact? And these are things that, if I'm a high school guy, and we do this now at Richmond Academy, this is part of our strength and conditioning phase work at the Academy right now in this time of year. Keep in mind, we don't have any rules about off-season training or anything like that. However, I do try to work without using all the football-related equipment. We do a good job of that. So the things that I'm going to show you today, I think you should be able to do with NPA, within the NPA guidelines. I also think this is the kind of stuff I would do with youth kids in the summertime, right? And you can do it with helmets on and stuff. But anyhow, why are we doing it? Physical and mental preparation. They have to be prepared physically and also mentally to get into contact with another human. It's not always, not everyone is used to it. Injury prevention is obvious. Introduction to physical contact. If you're transitioning a youth program of flag football into tackle football, you should teach those kids getting the flag is the same thing as making a near foot, near shoulder tackle, right? So you're going from ripping the flag to striking through. Hopefully this stuff will help you make that transition. It normalizes bodily contact. Those of us who played linebacker and really enjoyed running into things over and over and over again, right? That was an unnatural act. Right? It's not normal for most people, right? They got to normalize it, and this will help to normalize that. I'll show you some of the drills that help them with that. Maintenance of body posture upon contact. That's from what the video I was showing you. The guys, I really like this term, reshaping your body when you make contact, or reshape the opponent when you make contact with him. Points of contact. We really, in football, only strike with a couple of things, right? Shoulder, hands, and if Coach Wolfgram taught you how to shed a block, your forearm, right? And that's it. What else are you supposed to hit with football? You're teaching 3 points of contact with the cage anymore. You know, we got to get you adapted, right? We got to get you adapting to some different stuff. These are the 3 things that we make contact with: hands, right, shoulders, and forearms. It's kind of fun. It's a lot of work. I'll tell you right now, it's a lot of work for me. It's a lot of work for kids. But we get to the point where they get used to it, and they start having fun with it, and there's also a chance for them to compete a little bit. This is right off the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic website, and this is some drill preparation stuff. I'm going to show you what we do. You want to rip some of this stuff and do it at your place, go right ahead. My goal is to help you do some of your stuff and be creative on your own using this information that I give you, and you come up with what works for you and your kids and your players. That's my goal as a coach today. So when we look at what they call, this is in physical education terms, this is long-term athletic development nowadays. There's a term out there called physical literacy and all that sort of stuff. But these are stages of development for athletes. One is just learning how to play and discover. This would be young, very young people. But stages 2, 3, and 4 are where most of the guys, most of the players we work with are in these stages, because it's ages 10 to 16, 13 to 19, 15. So this is not purely an age thing, right? 2 is development. How many of us are developing football players in our program? All of us, right? So you're operating here. How many are training them to compete? Right? We're operating here. And then this is an interesting thing in the U.S. We kind of split in high school, and you either become a recreational athlete or you become a higher performance competitive type of athlete. That's kind of where the split is, and then I think this is where where most of us are up here. This is the age-related part here. We're mentors and thriving and trying to live a full life through coaching and being part of athletics still. But this is called the American Development Model. In football, USA Football folks call this the Football Development Model. If anyone's familiar with that, that all comes from those guys. And I got this stuff from when I was working with them a few years ago. But you can rip that right off their website. Drill preparations to ask yourself. I run my stuff through this sequence of questions, and I try to answer yes to these questions. Right? And those of you who see me speak before, I throw this up there pretty regularly because I really like this. Is there a technical and schematic or positional application to the drill I'm running? What's in it for the guys? How does it apply to my scheme? How does it apply to my technique? Or how does it apply to their positions? And hopefully I've got that type of relationship going on. Is the rep or the set less than 8 seconds, the time of a regular play? Does the drill or exercise pit one player versus 2 or less, so you don't want to have 3 or more people? And then is the drill or exercise free of obstructive equipment, footing, and posture? And this is just trying to decide if it's a risky drill or not. And that's for all, I asked those questions for this off-season stuff. Below the green line here is if I was doing stuff on the field, I would ask these 2 questions. And all they're doing is, you might say no to some of these questions. That's okay, right? It's just understand why you're saying no and the fact that it's going to add risk probably to what you're doing, right? And football's still a risky game, right? There's all sorts of risks out there. There's the psychological risk of failure, right? And it's the physical risk of being hurt. So it's not just about the hurt part. There's all the parts of it. But what you want to do is you kind of want to dance down the middle, right? Those drills, like you just want to have, low risk and high game impact, but football's a risky game. So you have to have some risk involved in it. You have to teach them to be in contact with other people because that's the risky part. Anybody can play Madden, except for me. I don't know how. Literally, I don't know how. And so you can't, so that's the risky part. That's just a little matrix that I like that I've used for a couple of years. I stole it from the folks at USA Football. They said, go ahead, take it. Here you go. These are some of the things that we talk about in tackling progression, tracking. But here's the deal. Offensive linemen who pull, they gotta track, right? Because otherwise they'll miss the guy they're supposed to block, right? The guys in the perimeter, same deal. They have to track the defender, right? So they have to track people. So you have to be able to move properly. Your body position, we talked about that. We'll talk more about it as we go with those joint angles. Connecting, how to connect their body and what's going to strike the opponent's body. Where's your body awareness? You're just launching yourself into a tackle, right? You've lost control as soon as you've done this. Because I can't see him at all. I'm going to do that, right? Even if my eyes are open, I can't see him. So I don't know where I'm going to hit him. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm going to hit him with my forearm. I don't know. And I coach secondary now. Whenever a guy throws a forearm shiver across the guy going in the middle, I'm like, you know, that's it. Right? When you tackle and wrap them up, please dig at the ground, because that's what I teach you to do. It's just, but they're, it's not, it's just a personal preference. But anyhow, I want them to know what part of their body is going to strike their opponent's body, and they should also know where they're striking their opponent, because they should see it. And imagine how many, is it a targeting penalty round, right? How many targeting penalties would go away if we were all as athletes? Right? If you knew that you were going to hit them with your shoulder, not your helmet, right? There's the accidental ones that are always going to happen, but if you can connect, if you know what you're doing there, you'll be better off. Accelerate, feet always. You saw JQW there, and he did a great job with his feet. But there's some videos, some guys, it didn't show up, I don't know why, but I got some reshaping stuff where guys reshape their body in some of these drills I'll show you. That has to accelerate as well. So if I go in to make a tackle and I've been here, I gotta get this part of my body, right? My core has to be able to accelerate as well. So that's all part of it. There's the feet, but if I'm here, that whole part of my body has to accelerate as well. We get more power and more agility out of our feet, and we can move, we can change, we can stop the ball carrier, we can drive them backwards with our feet, but in order to maintain that body position, you have to reshape your body quickly, and using your core muscles to do that is important, and we train it. Finish with your upper body, shoulder flexion, elbow extension, hands, clamp, that sort of stuff. Lower body, triple extension, right feet. That's all biomechanics talking about, that sort of stuff. So, all right, so now, I always throw this up here as well because I think it's important for coaches at all levels to understand these contact levels. And we operate, these drills are mostly air and control, right? We do some, like you couldn't do, the NPM will let you do bags, right? No football bags in the off season, right? But you can do air and control. We don't do any thud. We do some competition stuff that ends up being live, but nobody goes to the ground in these drills. So I guess it'd be more like thud, where it's full speed. Nobody's going to the ground. There's no predetermined winner. There's some other stimuli in there, but we operate mostly at the air and at the control level for these drills. And I would say this: if I were a youth football coach, younger than high school age, I would operate in this area all the time. I would put kids into fit positions and go, all right, now do this. Get fit here and do this. Get your fit here and do this. Until they got it to the point where they could do it at space and with more stimuli in the drill, more space in the drill, more things that are football related. We operate a ton of control level anyhow because we try to lower the amount of contact. It doesn't count, like this counts as full contact, and this counts as full contact, right? In the contact matrix of things, right? So we operate here a ton, even with our guys, or we do it on air. Not one of these things means half speed, right? The only one that really is half speed, slowed down, would be here. Everything else should be full speed. Right? So that's standard operating stuff. Here we go. Here's what most of us know about body angles. And that in football, that athletic position with your ankles, knees, and hips, and your feet. I love guys I like their feet just under their hips, just wider than the minutia between where a football player's feet are depends on the coach talking at the front of the room usually. Whatever, right? I listen to a guy that goes, I like them just outside because when they start to run, they narrow up, like, and then there's other guys that they start narrow and they widen out as they run, they break down. Again, here's what you need to know. Their feet need to be underneath them, right? They shouldn't be way out here like this, right? And this is probably, you're not gonna have any balance here. So that athletic position is here, bent at the ankles, knees, and hips, and then a straight line essentially from their spinal column, right? So this line right here, this guy's pretty good from here all the way up through here. This guy with the ball, he's a blur. That's how fast he's moving, he's just a blur, right? The defensive guy's here, right? But it's a good picture of how they both are about to get in. That's a one-on-one tackling drill that we do, right? And they're both in decent athletic positions, and they're right at that magic moment before they make contact. And they're both in decent shape. The offensive guy, I'll tell you right now, I remember this play, he's gonna try and stiff arm that guy and cuff him off to one side so he can get around the other side. And that tackler is gonna try and get a hold of him, and he's gonna try and tackle. He's trying to tackle with his left shoulder up. He's about to stick that foot in the ground and make contact with his left shoulder. And I can't remember how it goes, but that's what they're trying to do. And those are two pretty good ball players too, if I remember right. So they're easier to coach sometimes with their athleticism. But they're in good position. His arms are good. They're kind of neutral, but they're ready to strike as he comes up through his tackle. And then the neutral heads and necks. Nobody's head is down. And no one, I mean, there's some of us in the room, we do this and it makes all sorts of fun noises still, right? Right? So you want to kind of try to have a neutral head and neck as much as you can, but you do want, and we'll talk about strengthening the neck here in a little bit. Here we are in a little bit. So there's a bunch of neck and shoulders. The world of strength and conditioning is a wonderful, wide open world these days. I'm going to show a couple exercises that we do here, or one here, that's a partner-based stuff, because this is part of teaching the contact stuff, right? So this is a low-risk way to teach them to be in contact with another human being that really isn't too awful bad. So I already prepped Ian here to be my partner, right? So I'm going to do this exercise for Ian, and we're going to do what's called a four-way neck plank. A couple of things. I'm going to be the support, I'm going to be the spotter. I will always use two hands. I'll keep my hands close to my body in here so I can stabilize him. He's going to be the exerciser. He gets to tell me how much work he's going to do, right? And then we're going to talk a little bit, and it'll be okay. So I'm going to have you face those guys, and I'm going to actually do it this way. I'm going to face this way. I'm going to put my hands together. He's going to lean back into me. It's like a trust fall, too. This will be good. We're both from Central Maine. We'll be all right. Okay, we've both been to all the agricultural fairs up there, eating fried dough. Been to, what's that bar in Hollowell? Yeah, that's the one. ahead and lean right back into me. Stay in a nice plank position. Come on, you come on back. Right. Good, you're all set. You good?
Yep.
Good. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna slowly take my elbows off his back. Feel your neck starting to tighten up?
Yep.
Yep. You tell me when. Yeah, right there. Now he's strengthening his neck, right? Easy, easy, easy. And we'll walk you forward. You stay right there. Come around front. Kind of turn your head around. Right? Now this is going to get fun. I'm going to put my hands right on your forehead.
Yeah.
Okay? You lean right into me. This one's a little trickier, right? You just control it. You lean into me. Here we go. Good. Yeah, that's fine. You're in charge, man. Yeah, relax. Good. Right. And then the last, we do this on both sides, right? I come in here. Put both my forearms on his shoulder, right? I got my body like this, and then lean this way. This one gets a little tricky, because the guys aren't just leaning left and right, but it's also, they have to keep this part of their body straight too. You want to lean right in. There we go. And I've got him, I got his upper body here. Now I'm going to go into his head a little bit. You say when. Good, right there. It's out. I'm going to just for demonstration purposes, we're here, right? Keep two hands here. We won't do, and we would go around here, the other side will stop here, because I'm going to start right here. Normally we'd balance this out by doing all four sides. And we do that as part of calisthenics in the fall. We do that in our off-season training for our guys. There's the old bobsled. We used to take our helmets off and sit in a bobsled formation in this business and this business. You can do that too, as long as you're doing something for their head and neck, right? To strengthen those muscles, right? It would be a good thing. That's low-key. Now, young kids, that's a great opportunity to, horse around and all that sort of stuff. But here's the deal. Football's a risky game, right? So it's time to, hey, Quakers meeting has begun. No more laughter, no more fun, right? A little bit, but in this time, we're messing with somebody's head and neck, right? Let's keep that thing safe, and it's a good time to be serious with them. And I don't have any great pictures of it because I don't film it for whatever reason. I'll remember to next year. But that is certainly what we do. The next one is a shoulder exercise, and we'll demo this a little bit. I got some good pictures. I don't have to demo it too much. I can get you some video. But these guys are doing what's called an overhand and an underhand taps, and they have to get in an athletic position. And basically, it's that game we had with your older brother, where like I'm not touching, and you're not touching, that sort of thing. And it's a competitive deal, and it's part of our warm-up deal. And I would say are the things that we do during our warm-up sessions with guys in a partner type of way. So these guys are doing the overhand shoulder tap deal, and you'll see right, these guys here are doing a pretty good job. He's in a relatively athletic position. This guy, I've got video, I don't know why I skipped the game video of this kid right here. He reshapes his body really well. See how he's bent out of shape right here? Watch him re-torque his body around and almost get back at the guy. He can do it pretty well. He almost gets it, and then he loves it. He's pretty bendy. But these guys, good athletic positions here. He's bent here. They're not bent super low. They don't have to be. They're in athletic positions here. Arms way too extended, but you can see this arm here just kind of coming in to get a little stick in there. These guys they're O linemen and D linemen. They're having a good time. Again, like I said, they're just having some fun, right? They're trying, but they're not in good athletic positions. Right? They're just, we're happy that they're there. They're happy that they're there. Right? It's all one big happy. But they're here, they're having a good time, right? And they're at football practice. How about that? These two guys are making each other work. These two cats here working at it pretty good. I'll show you another video of them in a second. Here's our strength coach walking through the middle. I'm running the drills. He's walking through, coaching people up, doing some stuff. Here's the underarm one. These guys, good athletic positions here. This one here is not so great. He's not bad. Key thing when they do this drill, so Ian and I come up here now, what you'll get, you go ahead and grab my right wrist. They'll do this. You'll say, hit an athletic position, and they'll go like this because they're trying to touch that other knee, and they'll get their head lower than their hips. You don't want that. You want, if we're both down here trying to do this, right, you're going to try to touch my right knee, right? Right? I'm going to try to touch yours, right? Might get my hand in there, right? We're trying to do that sort of thing, right? And that's just a fun little thing for the guys to do. It's like one of those silly things that we used to do and horse around with each other, but now it's a grappling drill. But you'll see some videos, guys get upside down, because they get too competitive,